We are here for an exclusive secret treat at Diadora HQ. We'll show you the inside of their Made in Italy factory, which is really rare, and many more stuff like the research center. I'm super hyped. Let's go. Welcome to the factory. So this is going to be a bit different today. We're going to show you something unique that probably none of you has really seen in the past. It's a shoe factory, but this is really a factory that was recreated in 1998. So everything you see here looks like it was in 1998 here at Diadora HQ in Italy. So we will show you now the first step of making a shoe, and that's the strobel. We have Floriano with us here.
Ciao.
He just told us that before actually sewing the strobel to the upper, there's one step before.
Yeah, they have to warm up the upper before to start with the strobel machine.
So to make it a bit more flexible and to soften it.
Exactly.
What shoe are we going to see today being manufactured?
Atomo Star. This is, let's say, the first step to finish the product. So you already see here the upper already assembled by us, and then we're going to apply the sole to the upper.
And so the upper is also assembled here in Manovia in your factory.
Exactly.
So that's amazing. We're going to see how the strobel is being attached, and then we'll take you to 4 other steps here in the factory to show you exactly how everything is being made. Stay with us. Okay, so the process is starting here. As you can see, everything in the factory is done manually, which probably also is very interesting to you to see how, you can imagine a shoe is like made only by machines, but everything here, and not just this step, all the other steps are also made manually. They were telling us yesterday, which I think is also super interesting, that these people here working in the factory are very, very skilled. It's very hard to replace them, to find new people with the same level of skill set. So I guess if you're interested, you can maybe, send your application to Diadora. But on a more serious note, it's also showing, how craftsmanship skills is still so relevant in the footwear industry. And so, as you can see, the finished product after assembling the strobel is the upper. Now with the strobel, so this white part here is attached to the upper. And then obviously what's missing here is a midsole, an outsole. This is what we'll show you afterwards. I gotta show you something else. Here we have literally a cartload of midsoles. So if you've never seen a midsole alone, detached from an upper, you have one here. This is again going on an Atomo Star. I guess this is a colorway that we'll see later this year. I'm not sure I can show this to you actually. But here you have more uppers, here you have more midsoles, and this is looking really good. We're moving on to the next step, which is inserting the last into the upper. They need to hit the upper again to make it a bit more supple. So the last is actually in 2 pieces. There is the heel and midfoot, forefoot, which is deconstructed, and then they just put it together into one piece by bending it, and that's what stiffens the shoe and give it shape. And as you can see, even that step, which is fairly easy, putting the last in the upper, is manual. They need to take each upper separately, warm it up, and then put it very carefully on the last, adjusting it manually. I can check, but it's probably taking, from 15 to 20 seconds to do it here as well, manually in the factory. And I think the machine right behind here, which we're going to see in use here in a second, was the most fascinating one, because there's so many commands, so many different things to master. It looks like a machine you would find at the dentist, although I wouldn't want to have my head in here. So this is actually not a step as part of the Atomo Star process. Marcus is doing it for us just to show it how the machine works. The Atomo Star comes with a strobel, that's what we've seen in the previous step. And essentially this machine is being adjusted manually for each of the small clips that you see around the shoe, around the upper. And that's what allows then Marcus to control everything and to attach it to the last for shoes that do not come with a strobel. These shoes are again being made manually, and attaching this for shoes without a strobel takes some time, 45 seconds about. Could be done much faster in a more advanced, more automatized factory. But here again, they choose to use skills and to use people to do it with lots of precision and a much higher quality output. We're actually very lucky because now Marcus is taking one of the heritage shoes, the Bjorn Borg tennis shoe, and he's doing it to the end of the step, meaning that now it has been attached, which wasn't the case for the Atomo Star, just for the example, but now you can see the final output with the shoe now being attached to the last without a strobel. So this is like the second type of construction for shoes that do not come with a strobel. And again, more manual steps, so that now it was glue that was taken from the machine just to finish the final touches and make sure that everything is nicely attached. So now we are with Jackie here, and Jackie will show us one step that I think I didn't expect to be done manually here in the factory, and that's contouring the upper manually with a pencil around the midsole to show the limits where the tape needs to be applied before then glue is being applied to the shoe. again, manually. It requires so much attention, and it takes almost a minute for one shoe. Yeah, quite impressive. Now there is a line on the shoe. It has been drawn manually, and tape can be applied around that line just to help people afterwards in the next step to apply glue where it needs to be applied. All right, so the tape was applied to the shoe, and now we have glue being applied. This is literally, again, done manually. As you can see, they're following very carefully the lines of the tape just to avoid putting glue all over the shoe. And when it's applied, it's at room temperature. It needs to be activated, and for glue to be activated, it needs to be heated up, which is happening right behind me in this cooking area, in this pizza oven machine, where shoes are being placed still separate. So you have the upper and the midsole just for them to be heated up, activated. It's a rotating machine. They're going through the hot area and being removed manually so they can be assembled, which we'll show you right here. And the Diadora factory is full of surprises because right behind me, like all of a sudden, appears Alfie Manthorpe. Alfie, what do you think of the factory?
It's great. I think I like how old-fashioned it is, and you can see all the process in one go. And when they were saying about how the skill set is very specific, where if someone has a day off, then it's game over basically. So it's just really great to see the full process of the shoe being made.
And Alfie, do you see a shoe around here in the factory that will allow you to earn titles, break records, and become even more elite than you're already now?
Yeah, I think obviously with the Atomic Star being made, we already know how nice that is, especially for kind of easy runs to steady threshold paces. And then I keep on trying to have a look around and see if there's any secret shoes going on, maybe the Gara Carbon Free or something like that, and just trying to spot anything I can.
And I mean, in all fairness, Alfie yesterday told me that he's considering the Gara Carbon 2 for his 10K trials leading to the European Road Championships in Brussels in April. So we'll see if you wanna check it out, follow Alfie and see what he's wearing on this weekend.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the glue was being activated in the oven, and now it's being assembled manually here. Literally, the two pieces are being taken together and put, just like you would put your iPhone screen protector on your screen. They need to make sure that it's aligned, that it's looking good, and then they just throw it inside that pressing machine. So it's like a silicone pouch that is being compressed so that the gluing process can be effective. There is first the pouch, so fairly manual step, and then there is actually a press with quite some pressure. I think it's going up to 3 bars, more than in your car tires. And then the shoe is being sent to a freezing machine so that after the glue being activated, it can be frozen so that it's really remaining in place. Now some finishing touches. It's a very important step because at the end of the day, this is how the end user, the consumer, will find their shoe in the shoebox. They will open it, and the last person who's touching it is this lady behind me here, adding the insole, adding that piece of paper just to hold it in position, and also making sure that there's no stain or any kind of marks on the shoe. It's being touched all around the factory. There's glue added, so they need to maybe remove a bit of that before it's being put in a box right here, which we'll also show you. Now, what I said right earlier here wasn't true. The last person touching the shoe is actually the lady here behind me. This is QC, quality control. This person is in charge of making sure that the shoe looks good before being put in a box. So she's putting that nice paper wrap in the box and making sure that the shoes are nicely arranged in that box. It's literally the same box you will find on a shop shelf here in a few weeks once the Atomic Star is launched. Maybe the pair here is yours, who knows? All right, we've seen the factory. As you've seen, it's manual. It's really, really based on the skills of people. And it also is rare because made in Europe shoes are not something very common nowadays, to say the least. I'm gonna go change myself and get on a treadmill. There's some testing to do. We'll gather some data and see if I can improve my running in the Diadora shoes. Okay, so we are now in the CRD, where yesterday I was lucky to test on the treadmill, which has a markerless solution. So you're not having the markers that traditionally you would have on your body during the testing. And that also has a specific tool on the treadmill called OptiJump, which is something that is usually used on a track, where you would have the two yellow tools on the side of the track, measuring with LEDs in a closed system very precisely your ground contact time and other metrics related to your foot strike. So all the two systems combined led to a report, and we have Michele here in the CRD that is going to help us understand what my report actually means. So yeah, let's go through the numbers.
Okay, so here we have the data reporting of the qualities analysis together with the TIA artificial intelligence that is able to give you this full report that you can see here. Obviously, when you are running, on the treadmill. You are recorded by the 8 camera in high definition, and then the artificial intelligence is able to create the module. In this case, the skeleton you can see there. This kind of module is analyzed by the biomechanical software, and in few minutes give you the total report about all your movement. You can compare one shoes with another shoes, or you can compare one runner with another runner. The main point is, thanks to the artificial intelligence, we can have in few minutes what we need before months. Okay, just for data collection. Thanks to this software, it's very easy to have the improvement of the product and in lifetime. Okay, so you get the result, you check with the athletes, you can understand with the athletes which is the right way to follow. This is a game changer.
Now, Michele, I saw the report. Obviously, you know, I'm no elite runner, but I would still like to improve. If you were to get an athlete with that specific report here in the lab, what would you recommend them to do? Or what do you see here that is really striking for you based on all the history of testing you've done here in that lab?
Every time is something that belongs to the details. Every athlete have his pet, and you don't have to change everything because it's difficult to find the balance. Usually a runner have already a balance. You don't have to create something that is disrupting. You just have to check mainly if you have some asymmetry between left and right legs. You can help them in particular in the arm movement, because sometimes also very skilled athletes have some asymmetry between left and right. You know, in a world where the competition is at a very high level, if they know something, they can do something to avoid, okay, to avoid the loss of energy. And in the other side, you need to understand that behind the athletes, there is a team. So when you have something that you don't know before, and you know, thanks to this cinematic analysis, you can go deep and you can understand if you have to change something in the training, or you have to consider in the recovery time or in the recovery action, how to do to avoid any injuries, because the main target is to avoid injuries. Okay.
Did you see some huge asymmetries on my report? I know my form is far from perfect, but is there anything...
Speaking in all the graph, we don't see asymmetry. We didn't see also difference in the step length. It's normal that in some movement you have a slight asymmetry, but nothing really of what you have to worry about.
Okay, so nothing dramatic.
No.
And maybe can you also explain the OptoJump system, because this is also something very special that you have here on the treadmill, and very soon you will also have a special track of 70 meters where the OptoJump will help you to see the metrics for athletes.
Exactly. So OptoJump is a very nice tool. We are proud to say that the company is an Italian company. It's called Microgate. This tool is now the benchmark basically for all the track and field athletes, and a lot of athletes use the data that comes from the OptoJump to improve their performance, or at least to see with one shoes if they are faster or better compared to another, because this is the fight between the brands. Your foot data are put inside the LED light. When the two bars are positioned on the track and field, we have, for example, 30 meters, but also on the treadmill, it just work in a closed circle, the foot go inside and close such kind of LED. In quantity, that depends on how you touch the ground. And also you have all the data of the acceleration or speed of the foot inside the bar. What is accurate and really interesting is the touching ground time, acceleration and speed, and plus obviously the length of the left and right stride. So it's very interesting to see in how much time you make 30 meters or 10 meters, and which is the development of the acceleration step by step. You can do obviously also with some sensor, okay, but you can do with 1000 sensor. So the OptoGen give you the opportunity to have a real-time evaluation of your performance on the track and field. And all the athletes use these types of tools now to say okay or not to the signature of a contract for the track and field brands.
Yeah. So like a high-end technology like OptoGem can really be decisive in the process of signing an athlete or not for a brand, but also for the athlete when testing shoes, for instance.
Absolutely.
Michele, thank you so much. I think this was really insightful. We will show you some B-roll here of the footage of the testing. It was a great opportunity, and yeah, we wish you all the best for the CRD here at Diadora.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, here we have two machines specifically designed for Diadora. The marathon machine, which is testing pounding forces applied here to a pair of Atomostar. 18 kilometers already on this pair. It's more than I did this morning. 130 kilos being applied, so quite some weight. And then here we have the race machine, also bespoke for Diadora. This machine is measuring the bounce of a shoe. It has a pendulum, which is measuring an angle of departure at 54 degrees. And then if I let it go, it will bounce back. And the second angle that is measured is the angle at which the shoe returns. And then if it's like 40 degrees, 40 on 54 is like, 70%, 75% of energy return. If it went to 54% back, that would be 100% of energy return, which obviously is not possible. This is the two very nice machines here. It's, lovely playground for anyone who's a bit geeky about shoes. We've done the testing. It was quite hard. Now it's time to meet a legend of the sport. We'll meet Gelindo Bordin, Boston Marathon winner and Olympic marathon champion. He's an athlete that really set the difference in the 80s, in the 90s on the marathon distance. He was the Italian record holder for the marathon with a 2:08 for quite some time. He told us a lot about athletes, the sponsorship, how to sign athletes today in an industry that is getting more and more competitive. He told us about the improvement in running shoes, what it means on a daily basis with athletes training in the shoes, and how he sees the industry evolving. Some secrets I cannot share, unfortunately, with you, but who knows, maybe in a few weeks, months, years. Anyways, Diadora is on a very interesting trajectory, and I suspect they will be a brand we will have to count on in the next couple of years, because they really laid solid foundation to be that strong, reliable brand in the footwear industry, in the sports industry in general. I wish them so, because to be honest, meeting the people here was quite inspiring as well. Meeting the CEO, meeting the president, the owner, and understanding the people behind the company. Thanks a lot for watching. It was very, very nice to be here. Thanks to Diadora. Thanks to all of you, because you make this type of content possible. We'll see you in the next one.